There's more than one way to be Black, and that's why we want you to feel seen. Redefine Black, it's all about making it your own. So that's why Redefine Black presents Talk Black to Me, the podcast. Tune in. Everyone, welcome to another episode of Redefine Black presents Talk Black to Me. Today's guest is a luxury sleepwear designer. Her brand is for dreamers, print lovers, homebody, and comfort seekers. Please welcome Melissa Lockhart with
Hello.
Melda Moda. So
Thank you so much for having me.
of course, we're so excited to learn about your journey, to get into this luxury sleepwear. You know, people be like, oh, you can sleep when you're dead. Like, no, we need to be able to sleep while we're alive.
Now, yeah,
Exactly.
sleep now.
And the best way to do it is in something very luxurious.
Yes.
So just tell us a little bit about your brand, like the name, how you decided to start a luxury sleepwear brand.
Yeah. So I came up with this idea back when we were in quarantine. Like, I have always been someone who loves clothes. And when we went into quarantine, I was kind of just living in sweatpants and like swag t-shirts. And I found myself missing getting dressed, but I wasn't going to like put on my good dry clean only clothes to, sit in the house all day. And then I was like, well, I should have some nice pajamas. And I started looking for pajamas with specific prints and I couldn't find them. And then it occurred to me, I'm like, well, what if I tried to create it? We were at home. I had a lot of extra time on my hands. So then I just started researching how to start this, reaching out to people because I'm not like a graphic designer. I'm not a fashion designer by trade. I'm just someone who has always had a love affair with clothes. And way back when I had a fashion blog. So anyway, as it started to come together, I found a pattern designer to make the prints for me. And then I found, someone with technical fashion background to make the pattern. It started coming together. It was really print heavy, very bright, vibrant. And it reminded me of my childhood babysitter. Her name was Melda. So that's where the name Melda comes from. And Moda means style. She was someone who, I don't know if I ever saw her wear black. Everything she wore was printed or brightly colored. And I spent a lot of time as a kid either going to fabric stores with her or, watching her make her own clothes. So it just felt like her essence was all up and through what I was creating. And that's where the name came from.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, since you said you didn't have a background necessarily in fashion, what can we look forward to in the designs? Like, I know you said it's for comfort and, us lounging around because I'm a t-shirt and what's kind of girl, but it's like, I'm, getting more adult and mature. I would like something that I feel good in. So, like,
Yeah.
what to look forward to?
So we're really going for the luxury factor. So you're gonna expect fabric that feels really good on your skin. The pajamas are cut fairly roomy, so you're at home, you don't want to feel constricted. So you're gonna get a lot of room in them. Always gonna be print heavy. We'll have some solids for people who like that, but probably in bright colors. Just something when you look at it, it looks pretty, it looks fun, and it makes you, want to put them on and sit down. So that's the other part of it. It's like, yes, I'm selling you sleepwear, but it's also a lifestyle. Like you mentioned before in the beginning, it was, I grew up in the time where it was, like you said, sleep when you're dead. And it's like, no, that led me on a quick road to burnout and so many other people that I know. And so we don't want that. And so I want for when you put your pajamas on, that to be the sign for you, like it's time to call it quits for the night. I'm going to put on my pretty pajamas and I'm going to sit on my couch. Or I'm going to get in my bed and I'm going to relax.
Yeah, I saw even on your Instagram, it's a form of self-care.
Yes.
So many people think self-care is just going to get a massage or zenning out, but like putting on the pajamas and like doing whatever you want to do
Yeah.
is a form of self-care.
Exactly. And, that's another thing that came out of the pandemic. All of those things that, like, we met through a travel group, right? Like, we couldn't travel for a while in the beginning. You couldn't go get the massages, which is something that I love to do. And so it's like, what can I do in my own home? Well, I can put on a pair of pajamas, I can turn on my TV, I can light a candle, you know, all that stuff. So it should be a whole routine, but things that you do at home. You don't need to leave to have that luxury relaxation experience.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You know, romancing yourself and finding ways that
Yes,
you enjoy it and like it.
exactly.
And why not do it in a pair of clothes that and feel good?
Yes, the other part of it was, like I said, I had experienced major burnout from my job, and I was lucky enough to take a long time off, but not everybody can do that, right? And so, how can you incorporate that rest and that relaxation into your everyday? So, that's really what we're trying to drive with this is those small little moments of self-care, relaxation, so you don't get to a point where you're as burnt out as I was.
Yeah, I think everyone can attest to burnout, especially during this COVID quarantine.
Yes.
Working from home is nice, but then you're like constantly. And it's like from work to TV to social media to whatever.
Yeah. And that when I first started working from home, like the work never stopped, right? It just never stopped. And
Right.
so your computer is right next to, well, my computer was right next to my bed. A Slack message would go off at like 2 a.m. and I would feel like I had to respond to it, right? Or on the weekends, I think bosses thought like, well, they're home anyway, so let me message them. And so that all plays into it. Like when you put on your pajamas, that should be the sign to turn off the Slack notification, shut off the email. Like this is your me time. Yeah.
That's important. So as a Black woman, why do you feel like it's important to have, you know, representation of someone creating sleepwear? I know we have the big, you know, names, or as teenagers or even as adults, so people thought of like Victoria's Secret, and now we have Rihanna with Savage Fenty. But like, just as a Black woman, what do you find important?
She is, I mean, Rihanna is such an inspiration, right? Like just what she's been able to do with both Savage and Fenty Beauty. I think, so one of the things for me is I mentioned that I was looking for specific kinds of prints.
Right.
And those prints were things that reflected my life as a Black millennial woman, you know, in New York who liked to travel, and I couldn't find those. So like the first print you'll see has a panther on it. I was watching I was watching Black Panther all of the time during quarantine, right? And wishing Wakanda was a real place, but I didn't find any pajamas that had a panther on it. I haven't been able to find any pajamas like just with different things that remind me of my life and my experiences. And so I think that's why I thought, why don't I create this, right? So I can see my lifestyle reflected and the lifestyle of people that I know and hang out with. So we can see our lifestyles reflected there. And I just think that we need to be in every industry, every arena, right? We have the talent. So if you have an idea, go for it, right? There is space for us all. If Rihanna taught us anything, it's just that there's space for all of us here.
So if someone was looking to get into like, you know, building their own brand, whether it's clothing or like you said, we should be in every arena that's available in this world. Like what advice would you give them, even if they didn't know? Specifically, like, you know, another Black person, whether they're younger or older.
Yeah. And I didn't know anything about this space when I started, right? So Google was my friend, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is, like just start researching hashtags, go on LinkedIn. Like I've found some people who helped me with this through LinkedIn. Community is such a big thing. I know if someone reaches out to me, I've had people reach out to me on Facebook and say like, I want to do this, I want to try this. And I'm always happy to share like, here's what I did, here's what didn't work, because I did a lot of stuff that didn't work. And I spent a ton of money, sometimes on things that I shouldn't have. But yeah, I would say like, if you want to get into fashion design, right? Go on LinkedIn, put in fashion design and whatever, sleepwear. Who comes up there? Are there people who look like you? Like, send them a message. Or the hashtag on LinkedIn. I really think we're lucky. I don't know if 20 or 30 years ago it would have been, not saying that it's been easy, because there's some days that I'm just like, I'm over this. But I think it would have been a lot more difficult to break into the space, you know, not having any connections or not knowing anyone. But social media makes it very
Accessible now.
accessible. Yeah. So leverage that the same way you might DM a guy you're interested in, DM somebody who has a job or a company that you want to have.
That's great advice. I know it's launching this spring.
Mhm.
Where can everyone find you to support, to buy? Like,
Okay.
let us know.
So we will be launching this spring. It's going to be a direct to consumer brand in the beginning. So you can find us at meldamoda.com. So that's MELDAMODA.com. If you go there now, you can join the mailing list. So the people on the mailing list will be the first folks to find out when we launch. And then our social media, Instagram is really where I spend the most time. So Instagram.com/Melda Moda. And then hopefully in the summertime, you'll see us, especially around New York, at different pop-up shops and things like that.
And just thinking back, I know you said you built this brand and it came to you during COVID, or while we're in quarantine.
Yeah.
Can you just give us a little like backstory on like how long it took you to get to the point of launching?
It's taken a long time. So I thought of it, right? I started working on it. I was doing my research. I found someone to make the prints. And then I switched jobs. I got busy and I forgot all about this thing that I had been doing. So let's say that this started January 2021, probably. I switched jobs that spring. Um, and I went about, you know, focusing on the job. And then I mentioned to you that I had a really bad case of burnout, and I decided to take career break at the end of 2021. And that's when I decided, like, okay, let's pick this back up again. So yeah, from 2021 to now, we're like hitting on spring 2023. That's just about how long it's been. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're excited. I mean, I know I am. I'm going to be signing up for the list. Can't wait to,
Thank you.
get a piece myself and enjoy it. Like you said, we like to travel, so I'm sure it'll be great even to take on trips
Yes.
and
I'm
relax.
looking forward to, you know, seeing girls in them on their girls trip. I think our robe, which we're calling the relax wrap, um,
Ooh.
it's it's light, it's small, it doesn't take a lot of space. So that's the one I say you can throw it in your overnight bag or your suitcase. You know, it'll work for if you're gonna have brunch at the villa you're staying in or whatever. So definitely that is a good one for travel.
Okay. Well, yeah, thank you. I'm so
Okay.
excited. Like I said, congratulations, because I know it's no easy path, no matter how long it takes. Like you stuck to it and you're really doing a thing, and it's very much an inspiration. Uh,
Thank you.
any last words you'd like to leave?
Yeah, I would just say, like, if there's something that you want to do, no one else is going to do it the exact same way that you can. So do it. Plan for contingencies. That's a big thing. Like, I thought this was going to launch in November of 2022, and there were all these delays that happened. But just keep pressing on. Find a community. That's probably the most important thing, because entrepreneurship is not easy. There are days that it can be quite lonely, and it helps if you have a community of people who've been through it, who've experienced it, and can give you some perspective. But I want to see us all chasing our dreams. So if there's something that's been nagging you, please do it. Like, the world needs it. We need it.
Right. Thank you. We do. Like you said, even
Oh,
here for me, this is like new, but it's like we got to go after. We have to show representation in
yeah.
every field that we can, because it could
Yeah.
be a little boy, a little girl, a little person, and be like, "Oh, I want to do that, but I don't see anyone that looks like me."
Exactly. And I really, really believe that like it's hard to be what you can't see. So, like you said, that little girl, that little boy, they need to see us doing it so they know they can. And also, hopefully we're making inroads and that it'll be a little bit easier for the people coming behind us.
Right. Well, thank you again. Before we go, I ask every guest this. I want it to pop in your mind, so that's why I don't give you a heads up. But I ask you, I say black is, and then you fill in the blank. Okay?
Black is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Ready? So, to you, black is.
Love.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. It was good to see you.
Want to stay up to date with Melda Moda? Be sure to follow them on Instagram or head over to their website to shop all the latest designs. Tune in next week for an all new episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast or on YouTube.